Oh, yeah. Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode. I am so grateful and happy I get to sit here tonight again. My name is Joey.
And I'm Eric, and we're your hosts, and welcome to Raw Minds. All right, man, we got a good one tonight. I think it's going to touch on a lot of things for a lot of people here. A lot of people can relate this. I think this is probably going to be one of the most related topics, man.
Yeah, man, we got a hell of a show tonight. We have a special guest here that we're going to bring on here shortly. It's I'm excited as always, man. I'm fucking I get pumped every week knowing that I get to come on here and talk to you guys and do this with you, Eric. And I tell you, man, this week, we talked about this in the previous episode, man, about finding the positives and the negatives, man. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes when life kicks you in the face, man, this week was a tough one for me, buddy. Like, as you know, man, my car and my wallet was stolen, and
Yeah. Fuck.
it's yeah, both at the same time. So it's life is definitely punched me in the face for a minute there, right? But when it's out of your control now, there, you have to find that positive in the negative with situations like this, right? So I'm
Yeah,
being as
man.
positive as I can, and that's life, man. Shit's gonna happen, especially when you're, you start. I have a clothing line, and on one of the back of my shirts, it says, every new level comes new devils.
That's a
And
dope saying. I like that.
and that's with that any aspect in your life. When you start to level up and you're feeling good and you're elevating, and then there's always something. There's always gonna be something coming around the corner to try to knock you down. But
Yeah.
you got to be able to shake that off and be able to get back up from that, whatever that may be, right?
Yeah. And then level up, man. Like I always say, like you don't stress over the things that you can't control. You know what I mean? There's no point. You're just gonna stress yourself fucking into depression sometimes.
Oh,
So
100%. Like
yeah,
we talked about it before, about like the world runs on emotions, right?
yeah,
It's in
definitely.
those hard times where people act out and make you know poor or different choices based on how they're feeling in that moment, right? Like, when that, for example, when I found out and I walked out and noticed, you obviously got to do your research if it was towed and this and that. And then when you
Yeah,
realize, like, man, someone stole my fucking car, like, it's a piss off, man. You get angry, but then at the same time, I went home that night and I'm like, hey, there's nothing I can do about it right now. What's the
yeah,
positives? What's the positives, right? And
yeah,
you got to do that with any aspect of your life when things take you down, right?
yeah,
It's okay to have a bad day, because I had a really rough day on the one of the days there on Monday, but I was able to pick myself out of that and and move forward. And then, like, okay, now what can I do that I'm in control of, right?
yeah, yeah.
And it's 90% reaction, right? So it's
100%.
definitely yeah, but you just got to keep plugging away, man. There's always positive in that negative, and sometimes it's not right away, like we've talked about before. But it'll be there. Right now the short term is when you don't have a car and you got to go places. You get a lot of cardio, so you get to walk everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. I think a
That's a
positive would be out of here if they find I think a positive out of here would if they find that fucking thing on fire and you get a brand new car, man. That would be a nice positive. I'll tell you that.
yeah, a little upgrade, right? But they
Yeah,
gave me a
exactly,
rental,
man.
but when you lose your ID and your all that too,
Oh yeah,
that's a headache, right? So it takes a while,
yeah,
but like I said, man, it's something that happened. I got to deal with it. It's out of my hands. I can't stress
yeah,
about it. There's nothing I can do. I could flip tables and smash glass, and it's not going to change a damn thing. So you know
yeah,
what I mean. So being here
yep,
tonight with you, and It's just, and talking to you guys, man, it's I definitely needed it myself this week, as
Mhm.
I look forward to it, man, and I love it. So, you know.
Yeah, man. Well, why don't you introduce our guest here, brother, and let's kick the show off with a fucking bang.
Yeah, our special guest here, I've known him for 20 plus years. He's one of my closest friends. I got, nothing but love for this guy. And, he wanted to come on tonight and share, some of his struggles and his stories. And it's quite, it's quite the background of where he came from to where he is now. And I'm nothing but proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that, with what you guys hear tonight, like, it definitely will help, and maybe make you guys realize too that you're not alone in this, because this happens, and people struggle, like millions of people struggle with this, right? So,
Yep,
but,
definitely.
and let's welcome my good friend Jordan. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of the show tonight, and it's an honor to have you come on and, talk to these guys, man. So, I thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. So, yeah, man. Let's get to it and see what can of worms we can open and see who we can fix. So, welcome.
Right on. Right on. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Super grateful to be here. I've wanted to get back on my NA meetings, and I just haven't made time to do that. So, I'm looking forward to this for sure.
Fucking awesome, man. Awesome. Good outlet, definitely. And I guarantee you, man, after this, you'll after we finish this little bullshitting back and forth, you'll walk away and you'll feel just a little bit lighter off your shoulders, man. Definitely.
Oh, totally, man. That's one of the things that I love about the support that is out there. There's a whole bunch of like-minded people that you can talk to, and with no fear of judgment.
Mhm.
You like me and my addiction history. When I found that there was the support there, you walk into a room like NA or whatever it is, and instantly, you got a family of support. There's 20 people in there. Those 20 people are there for you.
Yeah, and it is. It's like a little community, right? It's like a NA community, definitely, and they go above and beyond to help each other. Definitely, I've seen it firsthand.
Totally, man. Like I've got a couple different WhatsApp groups that I'm in, and every day we're sending different readings and checking up on each other. And hey, if anybody's having a tough time, we reach out to each other. Biggest thing is you got to talk about it, man. You got to get it off your chest. And that's one of the things that I struggled with for 18 years was the denial and not wanting to talk to anybody. And I didn't want anybody to know that I had a problem when it was pretty obvious that I did.
Hmm. Well, good for you for like recognizing it and pushing forward because that's the number one step.
Well, that's the first step, right? Is
Yeah.
admitting that you have a problem, and not just saying it, but actually saying it and really meaning it, and taking that step to get help. Like I said, it took me 18 years. It took me overdosing and just about burning my life to the ground before I realized that, I needed help and I couldn't do it alone.
Hmm. Good for you, man. Good for you. That's very honorable, and I hope a lot of people really listen to this and your story, and hopefully it touches some people and puts them on the right path.
Well, that's what it's all about, right? Like if what we talk about can change the course of one person's life, yeah, it's well worth it. Like
Yeah.
I'm a pretty open book. I'm not proud of my past, but I got no shame in it. I'm at the point in my life where, I don't care what people think. What somebody thinks of my past doesn't bother me. That's who I was, and it doesn't define who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you, man. That's what I say. I don't give a fuck who you are or what you think of me. You're not coming to my fucking birthday party, so why don't give a fuck? You know, simple as that.
Well, I think, with a lot of people, and myself included, for the longest time, there's a lot of people that say they don't care about what other people think. But I mean, there's different levels. Everybody cares to some extent. But when you get to that point, and lots of people, most people don't follow their dreams, start that business, any of that because of other people's opinions.
Yeah,
But when you get to that point where you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to be me, I'm going to do what I want to do, what makes me happy, and genuinely not care, you become a very powerful person,
yeah,
right? So,
And that's over. Like I've been clean. I am now. Ooh, what am I? I think I'm 17 months. Let me check. I am 530 days as of today.
congrats,
nice,
bro.
man. Congratulations, buddy. That's awesome.
Yeah, 1 year, 5 months.
Fuck yeah,
And
man.
over the last year and 5 months, I've been able to be there for other people. And I've taken some guys that were struggling and got them into NA or AA. And that's one of the common topics is the fear of judgment and what other people think. And I keep telling people, man, it doesn't fucking matter what other people think. Like, they don't want to be there for you because you've got a drinking problem or drug problem, or you're struggling. If they won't be there in your time of need, they don't deserve to be there when you're on top of the world. So fuck them.
100%. Yep, yep.
You're not going
I
to be
agree.
there for me at my worst. You don't deserve me at my best.
Yep, I totally agree. That even goes with like relationships and stuff too, right?
It goes for life. It doesn't
Yeah,
doesn't matter what it is, man. Like if you've got a business partner and they they're not there for you, but yet they'll be there. They won't put in the work to get the business to where it's supposed to be, but they want all the credit. Hey, you don't deserve it,
yeah,
right? Like it's give and take. And yeah, if you're not going to be there for me when I need you, you don't get to be there for me, or you don't get to be there with me when I don't.
exactly. Go piss up a rope, pound some fucking sand, and see you later.
Yeah, toxic relationships too, man. That's another big one. Like during my addiction, I definitely had some toxic relationships, and same thing. When you get clear of that, it just you're in such a better headspace. Like I know it's easy to say now, being on the other side of it, but one
Hmm.
piece of advice, like yeah, just any don't fear judgment. Do what you need to do to make you a better person and put you in a better position in life.
Awesome. Good for you though, man. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, you got to just, a lot of people don't take the time to be happy for themselves because of all the judgment. But if you live your life looking to please others and not doing what makes you happy, you're going to live in a constant state of depression, right? So, and one thing people
Hmm.
should realize too is that most people don't care as much as you think they do. You know what I mean? So
No, the people that
when you get
care,
to understand that a little bit, oh, go ahead.
the people that the people that pretend they care, it's usually the people with no lives or who are miserable themselves, and they feed off your misery.
Well, misery
Yeah,
loves company, right?
yeah, hundred
Definitely.
percent.
Well, do you want to maybe get into like a little bit of
Yeah,
your
maybe
background and maybe
yeah, kind of give
Yeah.
them a, touch on, kind of where you started and came from before you got to the point where you realized you had a problem.
Oh boy.
hmm
Well, this is it's it's an 18-year journey, guys. So, I guess the way that
in a
this kind of all
nutshell.
started, the way that this all started was, you know, I was a teenager. I was a drug dealer. Thought I was the man. And I got into a fight. I broke my hand, and the doctor put me on Percocets. And back then, perks were all over the place. They were easy to get, and I was dealing, so I had constant access to whatever I wanted. Got absolutely wired to perks. And then perks turned to heroin. Well, I ran out of perks, and well, hey, heroin's basically the same thing, so let's try heroin. And fell in love instantly. Like, it's, I don't want to glamour or make this sound glamorous or anything, but like, it was one of those things. You could be having the worst day of your life and you get high and life is great for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
That minute unfortunately turned into 18 years. I got my door kicked in, I got arrested. I was looking at doing some serious jail time. The first time I ever kicked was in jail. And let me tell you, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. It is fucking horrible. I got out, I cleaned up for 2 months and got right back into selling drugs and getting high. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up getting having to get a job to stay out of jail. So I got a job as a lock guy at a car dealership. And I did that for a year and still using and being an idiot and having to get my mom to help me pay my bills. And I ended up losing my license, and I couldn't make my car payments, and got my car essentially repossessed, and living paycheck to paycheck. And finally one day I woke up and I called my mom and I was like, look, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I got on the methadone program.
Good for you.
Well, that didn't really do anything for me because now, hey, I could abuse the methadone program. I could keep
Mm-hmm.
myself from getting sick. I could get the doctor to keep upping my prescription, and I could get high off that, and then I could go out and get more drugs and get high. So, that was that wasn't a good situation. I told everybody that, I was clean and I was on methadone and I was doing good, and, just telling the story and the bullshit and the lie, lying to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that went on for a while. And then I got into sales and started doing really well in sales. And, I was making good money. So the more money I made, the more drugs I used. And that was just, it was a vicious cycle. And every time, instead of dealing with my problems, I ran from my problems. So, Nanaimo, I started using too much and partying too much in Nanaimo. So I went to Courtney and Comox. I did well up there for a year, and then I started using heavily again and blew my life up there. So again, I ran from my problems. I went out to Alberta. Again, did okay for a few months and started using again. And this followed me
Pretty much just chased you
from,
then.
yeah, yeah, because you're not dealing with it,
Yeah.
right? Like you're not
Yeah.
dealing with any of the issues. You're like, okay,
Yep.
well, maybe if I'm in this area, I'll be able to stay clean. Well, again, you're not dealing with any of the root of the issues.
And it's
Now
easy
you're
to
just
find
having,
anywhere too, right? So I mean, like it's accessible anywhere you go, really. So I mean, there's
totally,
no
man. If you,
real
if,
running away from it unless you actually mentally stop that in your head and get the
yeah,
help.
you're not going to stop unless you really want to stop.
Yep.
Um, and then came back to the Sunshine Coast, and again, still using. And the more money I made, the more drugs I bought, and you know, making really good money and still being paycheck to paycheck. Like just ridiculous. And then probably let's say three years ago, it finally really started weighing on me, and I was trying to distance myself. And there was more and more dirty drugs out there, and it wasn't the same. So I was stringing together 3 months of clean time, 6 months of clean time, and then I'd fuck up and use again. And then The last time, this is really fucked up. This is when you have a problem. My girlfriend and I were supposed to go to Whistler. She was running a marathon, and her friends had just got COVID, and we had just got a new puppy. So I was like, you know what? You go run, and I'll stay back with the dog. Whole time I was planning on getting high as soon as she got on the boat. I'd already set it up. I knew as soon as I dropped her off, I was going to go and pick up. And the really fucked up part is that when I text the dealer, my message to him was, "Hey, do you have anything that won't kill me?"
Oh my god.
Right? And he's like,
Oh.
"Yeah,
Wow.
it's good, man. Don't worry about it." Went and picked it up, and I'm like, "So you sure this stuff's good? Like, it's not gonna kill me?" He's like, "Yeah, no, don't worry about it, man. It's good. You're my bro, right? Like, he's a fucking drug dealer. Like, he doesn't give a shit." Went home, and like normally I'm like being 100% honest, I'm a pig when it comes to drugs. Yeah, I'd been using for a long time. I knew how much I could use. And something about this time just told me to be careful. So, I did
Mm-hmm.
just a real tiny bit, like a grain of rice size. And within a couple minutes I knew something was wrong. Um, I remember waking up the next day with like shooting pain in my back, laying on the floor, and had no idea what the fuck happened. Rolled over, looked at my phone, and was like, "Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I'm supposed to be at work." As I'm walking out to my vehicle, the front end of my vehicle's all smashed. I was like, "Oh, that's fucking weird." Didn't think anything of it. Got in my truck. Next thing I remember, I was in my office at work. No recollection of driving to work.
Holy.
Next thing I remember is the owner of the dealership being in my office, telling me that I need to go to the hospital, and me arguing with him. "No, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to go to the hospital." Arguing with him. And then somehow I ended up at the hospital. And then next thing I remember, my girlfriend, who was in Whistler, is now at the hospital with me. Right? Like, pretty fucked up situation.
Yeah, and you don't
Girlfriend and I
really
got,
know like what's going on.
no,
You're kind of just like in and out.
right, yeah, right out of it. No idea what's really going on. I'm arguing with people about being fine. Um, yeah, just completely out of it. Got
Crazy.
into a fight with the girlfriend, and I ended up walking 15 kilometers from the hospital back home. And again, don't remember most of the walk. Apparently, people pulled over and asked me if I needed help and if they could give me a ride and whatever. Don't remember any of it.
Were you in scrubs?
Don't. No, I was wearing clothes,
Okay.
but yeah, I finally started to get my bearings the next day and kind of realized what I had done and what I did, and like I just about died. I scared the shit out of a whole bunch of people. I smashed up a truck. I drove high, like I could have killed somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just about burnt my entire fucking life to the ground. And I knew it was going to end that way when I'm texting the dealer saying, "Hey, do you have anything that won't kill me?"
Yeah.
That's when I knew I had a problem and I wasn't going to be able to do anything about it by myself. I needed help.
Mm-hmm.
I was absolutely terrified to get help because getting help meant going to treatment. So that happened on a Friday night. By Wednesday morning, I was in a 30-day treatment program on Bowen Island called The Orchard. Best 30 days of my life, best decision I was ever forced to make. Um, wouldn't change it for the world. I'm in such a different, better place in my life now. Um,
Good for you, man.
Anybody that
That's
has
awesome.
the opportunity to get help, do it. Like I left out a lot of the shit in that story. Um, but like they're 18 years of complete hell. Like you're literally with this drug, you're literally handcuffed to it. It controls your life. You can't go more than a day without it, or else you're sick. Um, it turns you into somebody who you're not. Like I always held down a good job. I've been very successful in my professional career, um, but I was a functioning addict and barely functioning. I could keep it together for, a year, 2 years at a time, and then I'd come off the rails pretty hard and I would run from my problems. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I'm very lucky to be alive. I'm very lucky to be where I'm at. If I didn't have the bit of support that I did, I definitely wouldn't be where I am. But yeah, that's that's
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of my backstory.
Fuck. Well, we're really honored to have you here, man, and that's huge what you went through, and I mean, I'm a little speechless. Like that's amazing though. Like where you are now, like and keep up the good work, man. Like me and Joey have your back 100%. I know Joey does fully because you guys have been friends forever, but I mean, I'm with you on that train too, man. So you have my support.
And when you are in that better place, like it's been 15 months, and over the last 15 months, it's been a crazy 15 months. I now own two houses. I'm a partner in a dealership. Um, I've got an amazing girlfriend that if she wasn't by my side, again, I wouldn't be where I'm at. It is totally possible to live the life that you want. You just got to take that first step and get help. Admit that you need help, ask for the help, and really mean it.
Yep.
Oh, 100%. And like for me, I'm beyond proud of you, bro. And I just heard some things. I've known you for 20 years, and I got a little emotional listening to you, man, because you only see what you see on the outside and behind closed doors. We all battle with demons and struggles. And in your case, it was the drugs, and I didn't even know it was that bad. Like you said, when you're functioning and you get the phone calls, you seem all right, and I'm just so happy that you are where you are, and that you're still here with us. I love you more than you know, man, and it means a lot to, like I said, have you on with me and Eric, and to talk to you guys out there listening, man. Like it's it's not easy, man. Either you dealt with addiction, you're dealing with addiction, or you have someone close to you that's battling the addiction. And it's we all know somebody, man. It's a hard road, man. Whether you're
It is the
beside.
hardest thing. It is the hardest thing in the world. Um, and people don't understand how hard it actually is. Like, do you know how many times over the years I heard, well, just stop. Okay, sure. I'll get right on that. Because I enjoy spending all my money on drugs because I enjoy feeling like shit on a regular basis. I enjoy being embarrassed about my life and being ashamed of who I am. But yeah, sure, I'll just stop. Like when I was in treatment, one of the one of the lines that made a lot of sense to me is, addiction is a disease, and it's the disease of choice.
Mm-hmm.
So addiction actually does rewire a part of your brain that allows you to make intelligent cognitive choices. It takes a long time. It is the hardest part of the brain to rewire. Like, they say if you want to stop a bad habit, it takes what, 28 days to reprogram a
Yeah.
bad habit. You want to stop chewing your nails, takes 28 days. Nah,
Yep.
man, addiction takes 28 years. It's a day by day thing. There's people that have 15 years clean and they have that bad day and they go out and use. It
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, like
All
without
it takes
actually
is
going
something, right? Just to knock
totally.
them over that edge. Yeah.
So as fucked up as this sounds, the one time that I have been the most triggered since I got out was probably about 2 months after I got out. Sydney and I went to Edmonton to visit her family, and we pull up to the hotel, and there's five people outside, and they're high, they're fucked up, they're nodding out, they're slumped over, and I was triggered. Like the thoughts that were running through my head was, how do I get away from my girlfriend to ask these people where do I get the drugs? they're fucked up. That looks amazing. And right then and there, I told her, I was like, "Hey, I gotta talk about this. I gotta deal with this. Like, that's not okay." So I told her, and she's like, "That triggered you? That's fucking weird." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, right? But that's the way addiction works. Like, it sneaks back into your head, and it'll grab you when you're not paying attention. Like, you got to
Mm-hmm.
work on it constantly. Like, it's day by day, one day at a time. That's another thing that's got me to 500 and whatever days is one day at a time. Don't look too far ahead. Hey, I can't guarantee that I'll be sober tomorrow, but I can guarantee I'm going to be sober today.
100%, man. 100%. I got I got to rewind it just a little bit. I got one question to ask you, Jordan. Now we know when you rewind back to when you were selling drugs when you were younger, and you know that you're talking about the Percocets. Now, just out of curiosity, like where when you the day you tried heroin, what got you to that point? Like we all know, like when we were kids, the first thing you learn is don't talk to strangers and don't do drugs, right? And there's different levels of what's a hard drug and what's a like people are tons of people do rails and they don't look at it like a hard drug because so many people
Mm-hmm.
do it, but but that next level is like the heroin. And where were you in your head the day you decided to go to that level?
It was it was it was nothing really. Like, hey, I still remember it to the T. Like, I can give you a full play by play. I remember it that well. What was going through my head? It wasn't like I was in a really bad spot or anything. I was probably, how old would I have been? I was probably 20, 21. Yeah, probably 21 because I got arrested at what, 22?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably 22. 22, 23 is when I got arrested. Um, it was, hey, I really like perks. They feel amazing. Um, Heroin's the next step. So, hey, let's see what this is all about. It was curiosity. I was already addicted to opiates. I didn't know I was addicted to opiates. First time I found out I was addicted was actually, it was a weekend that I was hanging out with you in Vancouver with one of my exes. That was the day that I realized I was addicted because I ran out and I got sick. But yeah, it was nothing. It's not like I was in a bad spot. It's not like I was depressed. It's not like any of that. I was
Curiosity.
dealing drug. Yeah, it was curiosity. I was a dumb kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, even
Dumb kid.
knowing, like I said, like you know the intensity and the hardness of that specific drug,
No
and
idea. Yeah. No idea how bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and now when you watch all these documentaries about, the pill mills and the doctors and all that, and yeah, like it being that, hey, I lived that life. Like the pill pushing is what got me. Like I won't I won't take any kind of painkillers now. I want
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with it. I wouldn't wish opiate addiction on my worst enemy, man. It is fucking horrible.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I mean, I've had close encounters with that, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. I do want to ask you a question here. How has addiction affected your physical and mental health, would you say?
So physical, um, I've always I've always been a bigger guy. Like, I've always worked out. Um, but it doesn't help the body dysmorphia, right? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know, when you're high, you're not eating properly. Um, when you stop working out, you lose weight. You lose even more weight, so it puts you into a depression. Um, I fucked up all my teeth, like lost most well lost most of my real teeth from it over the years, and ended up getting all my teeth pulled and fake ones put in. Um, I'm 40. Well, I'm 39, just about 40, but I feel like I'm 80. Like
Mm.
it's definitely done a number on my body.
Yeah, definitely.
The mental side of it,
Hmm.
a lot of depression, that I never talked about, that I never dealt with, that I never really let on. um, and self-worth was a big one. you know, I looked at myself as a junkie. Yeah, I call myself a junkie. I get mad at myself. I tell myself I'm not going to use, and then I go out and use, and you come down on yourself because you're a junkie. You can't do better. You're in a shitty relationship, and the and you get told that you're a junkie and you're no good, and you're not worth anything. Well, that just fuels the fire of that addiction. Okay, well, if
Hmm.
that's what you think I am, then hey, I'm going to go out and prove you right. You're always
Hmm.
looking for the excuse when you're in addiction. Whether you're having a bad day, whether you're having a good day, you're either rewarding yourself, or you're rewarding yourself for having a good day, or, well, I had a bad day, so I need to get high to relax.
Hmm.
There's the
Medicating.
body. Totally, your mind can make a
Yeah.
million excuses. Everything's an excuse to get high when you're an addict.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
that's crazy. Um,
Yeah.
go ahead, Joey.
No, no, I was just yeah, I'm just taking it in, man. Like it's there's in Jordan's case, his addiction clearly that he's been talking about is around the heavy drugs, and I
Hmm.
think there's obviously different levels of addiction to different things, right? But I mean, addiction's addiction. It means it's taking over your life. It's creating problems in your life and not making it better,
Yeah.
right? Well, whatever that is, right? And it yeah, it's a tough one, man. And I mean, like I said earlier, it's whether you're in or were in that, just like Jordan here, or you have someone close to you that's dealing with that, like myself included, and like Eric. I mean, like you just went through something that you know it still breaks my heart, to have gone to see you go through what you went through, and
Yeah.
to have someone who had a previous history like Jordan. So maybe I don't know. Maybe if you want to chat about that a little bit, man, I think maybe shine some light on being beside somebody to watch it, or to you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I've been in a couple relationships where people's had like addiction has affected our relationship. I won a couple actually. Was it a couple years back now? Probably 4 years. At 5 a.m. I'm sleeping. I got work. I'm about to get up. My alarm's about to go off, and I get punched in the face. And the person that I was dating had a psychosis effect. She was doing cocaine all night. She would do it when I went to sleep, and she would do it all night. And she had finally, I guess, she just pushed that threshold and had a psychosis effect. And thought I was cheating on her, and she just started wailing on me. I was sleeping, and she woke up. I woke up to her punching me in the face. And she, shit, man, she fucking punched me like 30 fucking times that night or that day. Like it was brutal, man. And that was from fucking drugs. And I mean, I've had multiple occasions, not with her like attacking me, but her addiction, and then shit's happening. I mean, she cheated on me. I was stupid. I took her back. She did it again. Like fucking shame on me. But I just got that fucking good heart, man. I don't know. It just whatever. But like it really rocked me. And then like the last thing that you were just mentioning, like fuck, man. That that was fucking a roller coaster. A fucking roller coaster. And I mean, from someone sitting outside of it and watching, and I have no control over this person and the actions that they do. I can tell this person as much as I want till I'm fucking blue, but they didn't listen because that hunger was stronger than the will for her to listen to me. And it's horrible to see someone go through these things and deteriorate. And luckily though, like she was strong, man. She got her shit together again. You know, she was out for a little bit the first time I dealt with it, and it was wild. I walked in and I was like, "Oh my god." You know, I was like I've seen that shit, you know, like you walk downtown on Hastings, you see it. But when it's someone that you fucking love and you walk in and you see, fuck it. I don't even have words. Like I don't like it's fucking shocking. Like it's I can't even explain it, you know? And it's fucking hard. It's hard sitting back and you know what this person needs to do to go through it, but they're just so gone that they can't comprehend. They can't think properly. And like Jordan says, they're not that person when they're high. They're a different person, you know. It was fuck. It was hard, you know. And then waking up and and finding out she's gone,
Yeah,
uh,
that
you
was
know.
Father's Day, right?
Father's Day, exactly. What a day to go. And then
Yeah,
on top of that, man, my best friend 2 years ago, he got in an argument, I guess, with his girl, went out, bought a bunch of fucking shit, and fucking died, man. You know? It's
And that's the thing. We never really know exactly what somebody's thinking and what somebody's feeling, right? Like,
exactly.
one of my best friends committed suicide when we were 18. Um, he got into a fight with his girlfriend and went downstairs and hung himself. This kid was the life of the party. Everybody in my hometown knew him, loved him. Um, Last person in the world you would expect to do that. And yeah, you never know, man. Like,
Yeah,
and that's why people need to talk about it, especially guys. Like, there's this stigma that guys need to be strong and we're not allowed to cry and we're not allowed to do this. Fuck that. Talk about your
yeah.
feelings.
That's why we're
Like,
doing this, man.
you gotta talk. You have to talk, and I was that stereotypical guy who the only emotion that I showed was anger. I
Mhm.
was always angry, very quick to get mad. Um, and a lot of that was, I was ashamed of myself and I was putting on a persona of somebody who I wasn't to try and cover up my insecurities about myself. Um, and again, it wasn't until I went to treatment until I really got to the root of why I felt like that. And I had no idea, but a lot of it stemmed back to my childhood and my real dad beating up my
Definitely.
mom, taking off, leaving. I've never met my real dad. He's never reached out to me. And I hold a lot of, I guess, not guilt, but I'm ashamed and I want to know why I wasn't good enough for my dad to want to know me. Well, now, fuck that. Like, I couldn't give a fuck. Like, you know, it's his loss that he doesn't get to know who I
Exactly.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
am. And, Joey, you had mentioned that addiction comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms. So, again, when I was going to treatment, I expected to walk in there and a bunch of people, downtown east side style people, um, and all of them being either opiate or amphetamine addicts. So when I got there, there was 30 people there, and they were all doctors, lawyers, police officers, CEOs, chief executives, all very successful, high-ranking people. and it was only myself and one other person that was an opiate addict. Everybody else was alcohol, cocaine, and pills. I was blown away. I, me, hey, I'm full blown addict, and I never thought that. Well, it's not that I never thought, but I assumed I didn't. Or how am I trying to say this? I didn't think that a treatment center would be full of alcohol and cocaine addicts. I thought it
Well,
would be full of opiate and harder drugs.
hmm, 'cause-
Mm.
And some of those people, that was their second and third time there. Like, yeah, addiction comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms, man.
I mean, even sex, TV, like you can be
Yeah.
addicted to a whole bunch of shit, man. I've seen people being addicted to eating toilet paper. It comes in different things.
Well, even your
Like
phone,
they'll,
and a lot of people
yeah.
with their phones, right? Like if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is roll over and pick up your phone, you have an addiction problem. That's actually a fact. You know, I had I went on a date with this girl twice a couple months ago, and the entire time she had to record this, do this on her phone, and then I'd sit down for dinner with her after taking her to this arcade, and she had to edit her videos. She couldn't even have a fucking conversation for half an hour because she was fucking head in the phone. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing this.
Holy fuck.
Like, no joke.
Holy
Oh,
shit.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to be rude. I just got to finish editing this video of her racing a fucking Mario Kart. I'm like, really? Like, just she couldn't get off it. She was just addicted to social media. And I'm just like,
Oh
whoa.
my god.
But even that, I know it doesn't compare to the level of where Jordan's come from, but that is still damaging. Like that just cost her, a possible relationship. That cost her, and so on, right? So all these little things that people don't realize from the lower levels to like to the extremes of like Jordan's story here. And man, addiction comes like you said in all different levels, man. And a lot of people don't realize, like how long it took Jordan to realize he actually had a problem. Because
Yeah.
most people don't want to take accountability. Most people don't want to admit they have a problem in whatever it is, and that's why they never get out of it or change, is because they don't believe or want to believe that they have a fucking problem, and then they're gonna look you know bad to people because they admitted that they fucked up or they have a problem that they need to fix. And especially for guys, like Jordan said, man, it's fucking, you're the man, stop being a bitch. You know what I mean? Don't talk about it. Fucking suck it up. You got a problem, you figure it out on your own, and then stuff it down. And like with me and my experiences, man, I buried traumas, fucking problems. I had a lot of problems. And then when I started seeing someone and talking about it at the beginning of last year, especially, man, I tell you, man, it was fucking the shit that I learned about myself. Like I was on autopilot for fucking 15 years, man. And
Mm-hmm.
it's crazy, man. So to be able to finally talk about it and get different perspectives. And that's why you guys listening that have issues, man, you got to talk about it, because I told myself the same story with certain situations for years, and that's what I went on until someone else be like, no, 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 that's why you fucking did that. No, no, that wasn't her fault, that was you. And then you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
holy fuck. And that's when you really get down to the issues that you've been holding on, to be able to get that help, right?
Yeah.
So
And
Well, and
it
like
stems
like
from
Eric was
parents.
saying, sorry, like Eric was saying, you can sitting on the outside and watching somebody go through it, and you can talk until you're blue in the face. Well, yeah, you can, because they're not ready. They have to be ready. Like, again, take me 18 years. And, I don't know how many family dinners I nodded out at, how many Christmas mornings I fucked up for my family. My mom was always worried about when she was going to get that call that I finally overdosed. Didn't matter. And like I had other family members, my cousin OD'd and died, lots of friends who've passed away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it really doesn't matter what people on the outside are saying until you are ready on the inside. they're not going to take that step.
Yeah.
Oh,
So you
100%.
have to be ready. You have to be ready to accept help, ask for help, and take full accountability for all of the shit. As an addict, we think that we're smarter than everybody else. Our whole lives are built around scheming and scamming and hiding and lying. And so, we think we're outsmarting people. We think that we're hiding the fact that we're fucked up and we have an issue. But it's really obvious that we do, and we're not fooling anybody. The only person we're fooling is we're fooling ourselves.
Yeah.
And, anybody out there listening that is struggling with addiction, you're not as smart as you think you are. People know that you're struggling. Talk to them, let them know that you're struggling, ask for help and mean it.
Well, yeah, it's a mental battle, man, and you gotta win that shit. You gotta fucking armor up and fucking win that shit. And like you said, like don't be ashamed, because you're not the only person that's going through this shit. There's, like Joey said too, millions of people are out there fighting this fucking battle, and you're not alone. So we're here trying to show you guys that you're not alone, and it's okay to like reach out and get help. And that's the number
It's
one
okay
thing
to
is
struggle.
understand. Yeah, 100%. That's how you learn. This is your lesson of learning. You just gotta find that light and make it into a lesson. Take the dark and turn on the fucking light. That's about it, man. Like that's what you need to do. I know it sounds easy, but it is. It's fucking hard as fuck. It is hard as fuck. I mean, you know, but you gotta
It's
find
it's
that
hard as
strength.
it is the hardest thing in the world. Once you take that step, it is the easiest thing in the world
Yeah.
because that first step is hard, it's scary, it's terrifying. You're leaving behind your best friend, right? Your drug of choice. It's your best friend. It's your safety blanket. It's everything else to you, and you're leaving that behind. So it is terrifying. But once you do take that step, fuck, it is so much different once you can shake those handcuffs.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be. There's no being ashamed, man. Taking that first step, you will have more praise and more support once you admit that you need help and you get into a group that's there to support you. Like again, use an NA meeting. You know who they recognize the most? The newcomer. The newcomer is the most important person in the room. People that have been going to those meetings for 20 years every day, they need the newcomer because the newcomer helps them stay sober.
Mhm.
So not only is that new person helping everybody else in the room stay sober, but everybody in the room is going to help that new person.
Yeah.
So you should be proud. Hardest thing in the world, but at the end of the day, it's the best decision. It's the easiest thing once you do take that step. And you should, that should be one of the proudest moments in your life when you actually ask for help, accept it, and mean it.
Fucking right. And that's right from the horse's mouth. You went through this, you know, and this is your advice that you're giving out. So please, guys, like you're hearing it. He went through 18 years of hell, like you said. And now look at him. He's doing great. So there's light there. So please, like it's hard, but like you said, it will be easy after.
You know,
So take that
Fuck,
step.
if I can do it, anybody can do it.
I have to say something here is, listening, even though I've known Jordan for a long time, and to actually get in depth, you know, into his, behind closed doors, his vulnerability like that. We talk a lot, but not to this depth of like, especially from, the addiction side. And I will say this though, is it's really opened my eyes, and I thank you for this. And I'll tell you why. Is I've held a lot of resentment towards addicts, and the reason that is I have a 13-year-old son, and almost 4 years ago, I came home from work one day. Now my son's mom, she was an amazing mother. You know, we had a really rough go when my son was born. We haven't been together his whole life. First year was hell. I talked about this before, but you know, fast forward, we became close, good friends. You know, she was with the same guy since my son was a year old, even to this day, same guy. And you know, I'd had share, you know, to show these kids, you know, it's all about love and respect, you know, regardless if your parents are together, etc. You know, I still sit down with her and her boyfriend, have dinners, blah blah blah. And almost 4 years ago, you know, there was starting to be a suspicion of drug use. She was starting to lose some weight. You know, I started to see it in her boyfriend, but I didn't have any proof at the time. You know, not really think. You know, you thought about it, but you could just there was some suspicions. People started talking. Anyways, I come home from work one day, and I'm sitting on my table having lunch, and then I get a phone call from the ministry, children. And the first thing they said to me before anything was, "Your son is no longer allowed to live with his mother as of right now." And that kind of blew me away as to, you know, like why, like what's going on. So I guess grandma pulled him out of his mom's care, you know, because the ministry was going to take him if she didn't come get him because I was at work, you know. And then I ended up going to a meeting a week later and I basically threw a chair across the room for what they told me, and I cried. And they told me that my son's mother, when they went into the house, they found uh, needles, fentanyl paraphernalia, and the entire cupboard and fridge was empty except one bottle of ketchup, not even a box of Kraft dinner. And they interviewed my son, and um, he told them that he just plays video games all day to take away from feeling hungry because he was always starving. And I had no idea. And I'm getting emotional talking about this because it broke my heart. And, you know, fast forward a couple years, and this is almost 4 years ago, she got to a point, and this girl was beautiful. Like she was a beautiful looking girl. You know, to this day, my family still thinks she's one of the best looking girls I dated. And you know, like Jordan's story, there is it took over her life to the point where she's lost all her teeth. Um, you can see the spine and the bones in her back. Um, and I just actually found this out a week ago that she is living in a tent 15 minutes away from my house, 10 minutes away from her kid.
Crazy.
And, you know, my son had his birthday this year, and normally every year she, you know, I'd go to her parents' house, grandparents, because we were all cool. And she didn't show up or even call him. And it broke my heart. And last year, she showed up, and her boyfriend stole my son's birthday
Oh my
presents.
god. That fucking pissed me right the fuck off when you told me that,
You
man.
know, and I've held this resentment because I look into my son's eyes and I can see it hurts him, and it breaks my heart. And you know, my son had double leg surgery a year and a half ago, and she didn't even show up. I was there beside him every day. I didn't leave the hospital room for a week. I think she's seen him. I think for the first time 3 weeks after his surgery. I even messaged her every day I was there. You come see your son. Didn't show up, and it it and it just it hurts, man. And you know what really got to me, you know, and was 4 years ago when this started. You know, and over time I got, you know, I realized like I have no control on what she does or anybody, obviously, and I can't let that keep affecting me, and I still got to be the best person I can for my son, no matter what.
100%.
And I was fine for a while, you know, just trying to be there for my son. I'm there, you know, I take him half the time every week. You know, grandparents have been a big help so I can go to work. And what really broke me from 4 years ago till now was a couple weeks ago. My dad, he lives out of town, and my dad is like grandfather of the fucking century, all about kids. He has every video of both of my kids, you know, etc. So he came over for a visit for a week from out of town, and he opened his computer, and he had videos of my son for his second birthday, and we were watching it with my son and my dad. And my son at 2-year-old parties, like I remember him and I remember Jason and I remember him and my cousins, and there's my auntie, and his mom was in the video when she was like beautiful looking and normal. And he looked at her and he goes, "Dad, who is that?" And it fucking broke me because he didn't even recognize his own mother. And I looked at my dad and I started crying. And I'm just like, that was a hard one, you know. So going back to why I had this resentment is because I deal with it myself, you know, and I see it every day in my son because I know he's hurting. You know, I try to talk to him about it, and it breaks my heart. It really does. But all I can do is be the best for him. So to see what that is also done firsthand, not just with my friends, but you know, someone who I cared about as a friend, as my kid's mother, who was an amazing mother, who was almost at the point where it was annoying because she would call me every 2 hours asking to talk to him and say goodnight, and then to go from that to this, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean. So I really held a resentment, but to listen to you, Jordan, man, it's I have a better understanding of it because I wasn't in, you know, that addiction side with the drug side. So I thank you because it really, you know, I think it kind of lifted a little bit of weight off my shoulders to have that understanding, you know, and I know it was your choice to start doing them and it's her choice. She's a grown up, you know, that's her fault and it's you know, for making that choice, but it's also your choice to fix those mistakes, you know, and she was offered a lot of help and just didn't take it, and the ministry literally wiped their hands with her, and now she's officially like sleeping in a tent, and it's heartbreaking. But again, you know, I have a better understanding that, you know, I can be a little less hard on myself and try not to hold on to so much anger, and just, you know, make myself be a bit better for my son, right? And just that's all I can do, right?
Yeah.
So I thank you for that,
Yeah.
for really kind of open my eyes a little bit on seeing it from a different light, you know. So it's you guys listening, man. Like if you're in it, whether it's drugs, alcohol, gambling, fucking small things, you know, the phone to sex to whatever it is, it's okay to admit you have a problem. It's okay to say you fucked up. It's okay to say you made a
Yeah.
mistake because if you don't, then how do you fix that? You're just lying to yourself. You know, Jordan brought this up. You lie to yourself because you don't want to admit it, but you have to. You know, and it's the same as if you're struggling like in with depression. Like you know why you're sad for the most part. There's something that's weighing on you. There's something that's making you feel like that, and you got to try to get out of that by talking to somebody, get fixing it so you can be better, be the best version of yourself as you can for your family, your friends, your kids, whatever, you know. So I don't know, man. You guys, it's a oh
So the thing with talking, what yeah, talk about it. There's no shame in talking about your feelings. And one of the I was having a conversation with a young guy who was struggling with alcohol. And, I was talking about, well, you need to talk to somebody, man. He's like, well, I do. I was like, okay, but when you're talking to that person, do they actually understand? Do they relate? He's like, well, no. Okay. So find somebody that does understand and somebody who does relate and who is not going to judge you. These when you're when you're going to talk to somebody, you don't want to have the fear of judgment, right? So, there's lots of NA groups, there's lots of AA groups, there's lots of support. Like anybody out there who does want to talk, contact Joey, give him your contact info. I've got no problem jumping on the phone with you. I'm not any fucking guru, but hey, I've been through it. I can relate. I can listen. I can give you what I did, how I felt, and my suggestion. But that's the first step is really reaching out and talking to somebody who does understand it and who does relate.
Yeah, and if like you guys, please like leave comments. We can get back to you and we can figure out. Talk off air and all that shit and figure that out. Or you can send us the email at rawmindspodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, s- we'll help you. Or at least help you get in the right direction. Or even just need someone to bullshit with. Like this is what we're here for. This is what we're trying to do. We're just trying to help people and fucking break the stigmata of men and fucking just fucking change the world, man. That's what we're trying to do, one person at a time. Like in construction, I was a carpenter, and I would say build in Vancouver one nail at a time. Well, now we want to fucking change one male, at least one guy every episode. If we can help, it's a ripple effect, and then hopefully that person will spread that love to someone else, and then eventually, this shit won't be so like scary to talk about, you know.
Yeah, pay it forward, and like Eric said too, like even Jordan, like he comes from a different walk of life and what he struggled with that I might not be able to help you with. So if you guys do reach out and you want to speak to Jordan, man, I can pass that along, and I know Jordan would be happy to chat with you guys as well on in that area. Just like he said, you talk to someone that you can relate to, you know what I mean, and someone that understands, right? So it's
Hmm.
just don't be afraid, man. Like, we're here, man. Doesn't matter what time of day, man. You send those emails, man. We will respond. I promise you that, man. And if whatever it is that you're struggling with, and if we can point you in even in a different direction to who can help you, if we can't for whatever reason, it's you know, we're here. So
So one other thing, or maybe two other things. So saying from treatment and NA and AA, there's if you don't get help, there's three outcomes: jails, institution, or death. Addiction does want to kill you. So, don't let it. Get some help because the other three options suck.
Well,
I've done
Jordan,
jail, just about died, and I've been in treatment. So, living your life out here is a whole lot more enjoyable.
well, can you like maybe give the people what steps they need to take if they wanted to start, wanting to change their life like immediately right now? Can you give a little bit of a rundown of what they would have to do in the process so they're not
So,
scared?
easiest thing is you Google NA meetings near you. And if you're in the lower mainland, if you're there's lots of in-person meetings. There's lots of Zoom meetings. Uh, go go to a meeting, and there you'll instantly be welcomed. Um, you'll be greeted. You'll be the most important person in the room. You'll feel like $1 million. You'll feel important, and take it one day at a time, and keep coming back. That's Keep coming back. And there's another really cheesy saying: it works if you work it, and you're worth it. So the steps do work if you work it, and work it because you are worth it. Living a better life is totally worth it. You are worth living that amazing life that you deserve. You just got to
Mhm.
take the couple first hard steps to get there.
And that's your mental health, man. You gotta take care of, like we've always said in all our episodes, you gotta take care of number one, and that's your mental health. And if you need to take care of number one, then that's to fix yourself and go to these meetings. If that's what you need to do, you need to do that then. Because at the end of the day, your mental health is number one, and you gotta fucking do whatever you can to make sure that you're on track with that shit.
And addiction is just it's a spiral of depression, right? So
Yeah.
you get high, you feel good for a minute, and then you're depressed that you spent the money on the drugs. You're depressed that you fucked up again. You're depressed that you couldn't stay clean, and then you come down and depressed that you came down, and you're depressed that you have to go spend more money and get high again. So it's just like for the fucking 15 minutes, half an hour that life feels okay, the other 23 hours of hell ain't worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, God, this has been a journey today. Definitely, I think like a lot of people will be able to relate on this, and hopefully, it'll bring some positivity to a lot of people.
Yeah, you know, be
Yeah,
able
yeah,
to
I
sit
hope so.
here and you know, like I just said, you know, I thank you for, you know, not knowing that you were showing me a different light on, you know, kind of what I was dealing with or am dealing with, you know, and so it was definitely a more an emotional one, and I think that's the first time I actually, you know, got a bit emotional talking about in the last couple of years. You know, I try to be strong, you know, as a man because you're the man. You got to be strong for your kids. You got to be, you know. But to sit here tonight, you know, after what I said at the beginning of the show, you know, with what I just had to deal with on the weekend, you know, get my car stolen and my wallet, and you know, it's life punching you in the face, but it's you know, whatever it is that you're struggling with and that's thrown your way, you know, it's you gotta take the steps and figure out the best way to not stay in that and come out on the other side a better person because of it.
Hmm.
Right. So I thank you, Jordan, man. It's it was quite a night, man, listening to you speak, you know, the depth and the vulnerability that you put out there is much appreciated, man. Like it's nothing but love, man. So
Yeah, no problem, guys. I appreciate being on here.
mhm.
Super grateful that that I got to come on, and it was therapy for me as well. You've been, and super proud of you, buddy. You've been talking about doing this for a long time. And talking to you during the week and how excited you are to come on and do these shows. It's amazing. You've always been there for me over the last 20 years. Love you tons, and super proud of where you are today too.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. It means a lot, man. And you know, I couldn't do it either without Eric here, man. And Eric, man, fucking, you know why we're doing this, and I can't wait to keep doing this for forever, man. Like
Yeah,
this is what I meant to do, man. And
yeah,
like you
man.
said, you know, if it's just one person that we help, you know, we've done our job. We're doing what we're supposed to do, right? Because we genuinely give a shit about people.
Yeah, man. Exactly. Like we're just trying to spread what people don't really talk about. We're just being vulnerable, and we want to finally push the envelope and just get this out there because it's important. It really is. It hopefully it fucking saves lives. You know what I mean? It's hard, man. Like the fucking mental health thing is fucking brutal, and especially when you're just sitting alone by yourself and not reaching out for that help. And this is why we do this, and we hope that you don't feel alone, and that there's other people out there struggling. We're all fucking struggling.
You're never alone.
Yeah,
You're one phone call away from support at any time.
100%.
You know, be it firing these guys an email and one of us reaching out, or reaching out to any of the support groups. Like if you are struggling, somebody out there does care, and they will be there for you.
Yeah, yeah.
1,000,000%.
There's lots of people out there, but yeah, man. I think that's it, man. I think that's a good ending to our night.
Oh, 100%.
Um,
You know,
I
thank you guys all again for tuning in. Uh, like I said, man, just for me personally, man, like this is everything for me, man. And to sit here and talk to you guys and to be able to do
mhm.
this, man, I got nothing but love for all of you. Reach out, we're here, you know, and I thank you guys again. And on my side, man, like I will see you guys next week, 1,000,000%. And if you can't find good people, man, you gotta be good people.
100%, man. And thank you, Jordan. I just want to say thank you there.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man. Well, that's fucking it, man. I don't know what we're gonna do, Joey. What the fuck are we supposed to do until the end of next week when we record again? I have fucking no idea. But anyways, we'll figure it out. On that note, fuck it all. I wish all you guys the best. Keep your head up and be good or be good at it. I'll see you guys later.